Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a really crucial, important topic. When it comes to liberating yourself, liberating your happiness, liberating your I am, that is really crucial to healing and being empowered, which means basically being in alignment with a self-respect, in alignment with an emotional backbone, being in alignment with boundaries and standards, though don't cause you to cave into suffering or getting dragged into another's agenda, particularly those people who are narcissistic or psychopathic. Those people can be very demanding. They can assail you with guilt, teach you to have a sense of helplessness, or render you feeling ineffective and that you should put up or shut up because they want to control the situation. They want to control all the players, how things appear or perspective, very much like a house of mirrors. And this will deplete you from the inside. This is putting up to shut up and to basically remain really essentially stagnant and in a place of what can be felt as anxiety, powerlessness, unhappiness. I feel devastated. I dislike this. This is what I don't want. Why am I doing this again? So all these perpetual sort of churning emotions, whether you verbalize them or not, tend to be processing within the body itself, the emotional body, the etheric body, even that spiritual body, which gives you motivation, excitement, and is your really your strength of being and what we call empowerment, or being having self-respect. But that quality, that experience oftentimes is not engendered or allowed or supported in toxic or dysfunctional relationships, such as we see with those individuals who are narcissistic or psychopathic, those individuals who have a pathological sense of self-importance, and coupled with a lack of empathy. How is this exhibited? What does this look like? Peace and harmony. This is the person who you might say has entitlement. These are the people who you might say are rude, arrogant, condescending, belittling, judgmental, conceited, the ones who always want to be the center of attention, the one who always prevails over all. At the end of the day, it's their hand up, their leg up, your hand down, your foot down, and you're scratching your head wondering, what did I do wrong? How can I improve myself to be better accepted by this person who seems to be critical of me? So it's an externalizing then of your valuing of a human being. And so you're externalizing your value. You're externalizing your self-worth. You don't realize it in the moment, but these relationships engender a specific type of reactivity, a submission, a supply, a role of servitude. In other words, their happiness becomes the emotional barometer for your happiness, for your enlivenment, for your progress, or whatever you might even need or feel is required or needed as a human being. And so one oftentimes is like living with blinders on. They put up and shut up. They have prolonged suffering, chronic anxiety, feeling wounded, feeling fearful. And this is because they can be intimidating, and so they manipulate and control through these intimidation states, where it's not a two-way street. It's like it's a command and it's a command and it's a command. In other words, they're trying to command you into being, and it's usually a fear-based, and it's like you should be so lucky, as if, or these people will oftentimes take advantage of others, take advantage of their power. Maybe they are older. and they feel that they should have power over this individual. This person might have been your parent, your teacher, your neighbor, your boss, or a coworker or something. Even it can take the embodiment really of an organization itself, which is radically insensitive to the needs of its workers. It's like a cold and callous workplace where you feel unappreciated, and so this can be a very bleak situation. This can feel very much like a hopeless or an unfortunate or unbecoming way of living or being. And people oftentimes it's the feeling has been gone through so many times. In other words, this then has really gotten them into sort of a treadmill of being used by somebody, and they don't feel like they can put a stop to the treadmill. I can't get out of this. There is no other way. And then they just will be very unhappy and then feel like they have to spring on somebody when they get off, or they are very, they feel like they're always looking outside of themselves for their valuation. And it's never good enough. It's never, in other words, the problem with a narcissist is not only do they keep moving the carrot, do they keep moving the yardstick that you're going for, but then even if you do your best, they'll shame you and say that's not good enough in some way, shape, or form. That can be very demanding. In other words, when you've been your authenticity, they will outwardly reject this because they're into something more superficial or something that has to do with bettering them and not being supportive of you, because it pains them to be supportive of others. They are uncomfortable by this. They always want to be the notch up, the leg up, the arm, they've got their dukes up. And they feel very threatened if you question this. But this then results in really giving away your value as a person, because you're then allowing something outside of yourself to determine your self-worth, as if you have an emotional price tag that's then built on some sort of behavior that you do or cannot do. That's a very fearful way of living. What if what if there's always this what if, there's this always feeling of paranoia. And like we were saying, and that's because you internally feel in your core, you have a core belief. If you have surrounded yourself with this for some time, and you then will deeply believe then, if you've then been reinforced, in other words, if you have previously been in abusive relationships that didn't validate or, have a, when I say validate, I mean mirror back to you and say, you are so kind, you're so patient, you've got great ideas, or you're such a great listener, you're a great cook. You do so good at your job. You're so kind. You're like this, male and female, so you being in your strength, knowing what is in your stride and what you look ahead to, that person will unequivocally at your finest moments pull out, and try to unravel you and take that away and then say, oh, by the way, and did you know so-and-so, and then they'll one up you, and then they'll take your valuation down a notch or two. This is unequivocally what they do time and time again, but people buy into the game. They get dragged in. Their energy can be very convincing, very persuasive. They seem to be the authority. Who put them in the authority? In your gut, at one time, you elected these individuals very much like a politician. You vote the narcissist into office to judge and have valuation over your self-worth, your feeling of safety, your feeling of self-valuation, and what you can then experience. Instead, you get caught up in their quagmire, which is basically a maze that doesn't ever resolve itself. It's just sort of a tension or a knot that doesn't result in anything beautiful, productive, or effective, or fulfilling. In other words, you feeling like you have to always make another best shot, win them over, impress. I mean, this becomes very tiresome. Life is not meant this way, but the narcissist will basically cajole you or condition you into believing that relationships have to and must be this way and there is no other alternative. But even just, your truth of the matter is that it's not based in all these falsely made valuations. You're terrible. You're not good enough. I'm not supporting you on this, or I'm lying to you. All these whatever behaviors that look at to be self-demeaning. And as Eleanor Roosevelt said, we're going to get her famous quote back up because it really needs to resonate and sink in with this, because the valuation, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So at some point, you conceded, you consented, you agreed, you had to go along with. In fact, your behavior had to reinforce, I am inferior. So that's a terrible belief to harbor within. Oh my. That's a bad one. I feel inferior. Oh boy. That's a bad feeling that oftentimes can be a very chronic sort of ball and chain emotionally that is internal, that really can fester and wear away at and hinder and inhibit, hold one away from experiences, outlooks, ways of being, things that you do, people that you meet, how you become employed, what you put up and tolerate, because the problem is, we have to back up, to heal. We can't just keep progressing, and it's not regressing. We need to get back, like the Beatles say, get back. You need to take a step back, an emotional step back in the moment, which means hold a space of being that refuses to be violated. Refuses to be violated. Refuses. But that has to be internally. That's not acted out on the street, in a punching fight, in a problem at a restaurant, on the phone with someone who you're going off on, and they're helping you, and you're just going off and you're because you're acting out something, or you're finding yourself doing something that is less than favorable, and you feel, not that it's beneath you, but you feel inferior. Oh boy. Oh man, just that. Ooh, that's a big one. That hurts. That is a big, that's a big, what, hurts. No one wants to talk about that one. That is why we are talking about it on the Peace and Harmony channel. We got to stop and go like, I pledge allegiance to whatever flag that you really hold true in your heart. You got to take a moment and do a check. You got to take steak. You got to take New York strip. You got to take T-bone. You got to take prime rib. You got to take steak. Vegetarian, take tofu steak. You got ground, you got to take a steak in your ground. You got to take steak here. Okay, we got to take steak. Oh man, we got to work on this one. If you feel inferior, male or female, no matter what age, where you've been felt to feel you are not good enough, or you feel rejected, a failure, the person, you gave them your best, your blood, sweat, and tears, and then they have done something to really, really demean you, treat you as a second-rate, third-class citizen, as if you are worth, not even the salt of your being. You're not even worth your salt. Good and competent at just, In other words, you holding whatever relationship it was, you were deemed a failure. That even meant maybe that even might be a label that you carry with you. You could be in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. If you go into your later life and you have this festering problem, I was a failure because you believe some false accusation or judgment that's causing you to constantly people please, self-violate, or wear yourself thin, wear yourself out, and you are not receiving the conditions around you. You are not finding yourself in conditions that are conducive, nurturing, and allowing you not only good, but greater and better self-worth. In other words, just being able to be in stride and have reflected back that you are dynamite at this. You are wonderful. You are amazing. Whatever it is. I mean, to have that said back with eye contact, with a hug, with genuineness. The problem with the narcissist person is you're not going to get the genuine. They don't do genuine. They don't do genuine very well. They do acts. They do false personas. They do elbow shoves. I'm better than everyone else. Let me nudge my way in line. Let me beat the system. Let me claw over you and let me, pardon me, but I'm going to go ahead of you, i.e., I have a higher order of thinking, deeming your thinking, being, behaving, and emotions, way of being, and ourness. Your I am is inferior than my I amness. Oh, wow. That is erroneous. That is a flawed, erroneous command. A demand that narcissistic will use is a role of manipulation to get what they want, so that they have, basically, it's generally based on a superficial need or want. So they have this sort of grandiose thinking, fantasy-like thinking. I mean, so that's what might make them attractive. And you might feel like you need to chase and pursue, and that you maybe feel that this is what love is. Maybe life is supposed to be this chase and pursue, and that if you're not constantly reacting to their demands, that you're not serving your role. But yet, if they're condescending you in the process, then they're wearing you down to an I am worthless state of being, and I am. And that feels like I am inferior. That feels like I can't stand up for my needs. That feels like I can't stand up to, and I have to put up. That means I tolerate less than favorable conditions. That means I don't get to think for myself and get to have credibility and have basically a credibility partner within myself that makes sure certain boundaries and standards are there. And what does that violation look like? Oh my gosh. It looks like somebody pushing you around. Someone, you know what it is. Someone who's giving you sneers, the evil eye, the look that can, chill you, to the bone, and that you can never warm up on. Even if you had a bonfire 10 feet high, you can't recover from that look. Or there's this it's an anxiety that is instilled. That means it's kind of a feeling that I am inferior. I am not good enough. This is very fearful. This causes a lot of fear and anxiety, and will cause you to do things that are counterproductive or self-sabotaging. What does it look like? When someone, tells you, that you don't know what you're talking about, and they maybe use certain language, and you don't go, pardon me? Excuse me? No, unless you can speak with me in a civil tone, we're not going to continue this conversation. So in other words, you don't have the verbology, you don't have that core that has the statement that can get a feel for those emotional boundaries. Remember, we were talking previously, is you have emotional boundaries. You might have a boundary, but you have a structure that is an emotional boundary that is your I am. And, and that I refuse to tolerate. I don't deserve to tolerate this treatment, this look, this behavior, this aggression, this violence, this, these are negative B states. This is not, but you can get so used to living and surviving and then reacting to that in a reactive state that your lifestyle can be basically interwoven with that cycle of abuse. Take care of them then. Don't, let them win then. Let them take your plate at the dinner. You can't have a plate of food without them diving in. You can't have a statement without them getting a word in. You can't have a celebration without them making a statement about them stealing your thunder or whatever it is. And, and they're just, sort of, yes, and well, can we get you out of the way so we can talk about myself now, is sort of the experience. They can't wait to get you off of the topic. They can't wait to put themselves on the stage that they have basically painted for you to perform in. And you have, like Eleanor Roosevelt, you have given consent somewhere on the line. I am inferior. Oh boy. Oh no. Whether it was a bad grade, whether it was, living on the wrong side of the tracks, whether it was having a failed love relationship and they told you in so many ways, or if you've endured or experienced way too many trauma and you're basically feeling that, traumatized living is all you've got. No, that will create post-traumatic stress syndrome. That'll create fear and anxiety that will keep you in the trap and looking to the trap for the solution when that's only where the problem is. So people get conditioned to continue to people please and look to that parameter, that judgment stick. Like we're saying, it is literally a measuring stick. Are you? And you're like, this is what I am. And then they should be like, I just love your I am. This is what it should be. You don't have to prove. You don't have to impress. I mean, where did you've been conditioned in so many ways, shapes, and form. Oh yeah, you better. And then you keep going along with it until you go, whoa, this is not a good program. I am sick. They are not there for me. I am not improving my stature, my way of being. I'm taking too many of these negative experiences in my life, and I am sick and tired. You have to get to the point, not when you're desperate, like, I can't take this, and then you're doing rash and silly things, or doing things that you're freaking out and you say, God, this is not how I want to live. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the man who goes chasing this woman all the time and keeps tripping over himself to do this and that. No. Whoever trained you to be that way, let's get a new teacher. Let's have self-respect be your teacher here. Let's vote for a new teacher. Let's elect self-respect into office, okay? Like, if you have a vote, just like you elect your politicians, you elect states of being. I elect. Who do you elect? And you might have some wonderful leaders, and they don't have to be end all and be all, but there are some great leaders. And you also have that within. But however, so coming back to that, so who do you elect? Do you elect to be the person, guy or gal? Guys, dolls, don't refer to yourself as something that you are not. You are not a pawn. You are not a broad. You are not a second or a third rank. Oh, I can get together with you now. Oh, let me just always do this, and let me make sure that you're always treated as second or third. And you know it when you're feeling this way, because they're trying to can always make sure of their role, which is an awful, this is how they live. This is what they do. So it doesn't mean that you have to be that way. But if you've bought into they are better than you, then you will constantly feel inadequate, because you're feeling that you're not them, and you're giving your power away. You're saying, you've elected and said, that's better than me. Where did you make that? Did you make a wrong vote? Where could you have voted to say, excuse me? This is to yourself. When you heal through this, and you've really perhaps been painted into a corner, or you're finding yourself witnessing or receiving this treatment, or your I am is still not where you want it to be. So your I am is still really desiring, wanting, and needing. Not desperate. You might be desperate. Don't be desperate where you do rash things. When it comes to realizing that I am, you have to say, oh no, I unequivocally, let's get some new words in. I unequivocally, that means without a doubt. This is what you have to have the internal conversation and feel moment. I unequivocally don't deserve to put up with that. I will not put up. You have to feel that. You have to unequivocally, no, no. You have to be able to have that and experience self-respect. Peace and harmony. I've never done that before. This is really scary. Oh my gosh, that's scary. Well, you know what? I think this is where reframing comes in. And you have to enter then into your role, your ability to think about what you're thinking about and reframe it and looking at it and say, you know what? I'm actually so excited, peace and harmony. This is what it's all about. Let me flip that switch, even though they didn't give me permission before. Oh my gosh. Let me give myself permission to not be treated this way. Oh my gosh. Doesn't every great person have to make that proclamation to themselves if they ever came upon it? Whoa. Wow. You are giving permission. So if you give yourself permission, then we have to get back we have to expand our space. So permission, which means there's a place within you that either concedes or does not concede. Concede, meaning I give in, or I don't concede, I don't agree. So, and that's a physical feeling. This is not an opinion. We're talking about commanding into and getting providence. I love that word. Getting providence into momentum for you. This is a be, I am state. But you might say, in the privacy of these videos, I have never experienced this peace and harmony, and I am so ashamed. So you might have a lot of experiences that prohibit you from getting to self-respect, that really get you into that thoroughness of being, where you're not living a lie, or you're not being treated in a way that is not conducive to your I am, or really your fullness and fulfillment, and a chronic feeling of happiness and a chronic feeling of competence. You should have a chronic feeling of competence. If you're sort of dragged off base, then you can, that's kind of your foundation. So if you've been dragged off base, then you're always going to feel that you don't have grounding, and that it's scary to say that I'm not going to do that. So no, I'm not, fellas, no, I'm not going to spend $200 on dinner and to try to win you over, and find that I do that in 3 and 4 times, and then you don't want to come over to my house, and you're going to have my famous slow cooked pork or whatever it is that I do. No, fellas, you don't have to put the dollar sign out in front of you. Girls, you don't have to put whatever out in front of you to be loved. A lot of men and women do unbecoming things that they learn later on. Hey, I don't want to do that anymore, or I'm not going to take that anymore. And you have to wake up to that, because it might come right to your door. It might come right to your text message. It might come right to your inbox, your phone. And so you have to have a recovery date. You have to go do this work. What does self-respect feel like? Because you might need to start the fire. You might need to flick the bick. You might need to say, enough is enough. I am not treated this way anymore. And you know what it is. So, but you might be ashamed to stand up for yourself. In other words, this, you might say, oh my God, I'm so afraid to even do this because this has gone on for me and my family, me and my work. I've been in this, I've been underemployed, underloved, underappreciated. And I've basically given myself, now there's an emotional urgency to change things. It's not becoming of me. I've grown out of that. You get a good look in the mirror. You know, you go, oh my God, I am trying way too hard. I need to be comfortable. If this isn't working out, I can say, this is not working out. And then you get in alignment within your emotional spinal cord. And you can almost feel yourself like, whoa, I got to pull back. And so it becomes a feeling and then a decision-making state. So rather than being reactive and then conceding or giving in, what does your behavior look like when you're being treated? Oh, yes, yes, dear, you're right. I will go and I will do this. You're right. I am, and you'll just continue to take the behavior. No, maybe you've never stood up. Maybe you didn't have the wherewithal before. Maybe you didn't have the finances, the maturity, the experiences under your belt, or no one really had this discussion with you that this is no way to live anymore. And what does that, look like? And in other words, you put the emotional brakes on with this type of treatment, this type of person, this type of relationship, no matter what that means. And if they can't get a grip, and if they can't see the respect that you're commanding and that you are requiring. So this is an internal I am. So self-respect comes to the door. Self-respect comes to the phone. Self-respect comes to the text. Self-respect comes to the events. And the minute you see that, you look at it from a position of self-respect. And so you might need to take a step up. So that is what higher order thinking. And I am so excited. Say to yourself now, rather than I'm so afraid I can't. I am so excited to see my strength in the making and hold myself in self-respect and just an I am be state. It doesn't require a lot of work. Okay, the narcissist, oh my, you might have done a lot of work to please them, to take care of them, to put them front and center. A lot of putting up to shut up. Oh my gosh. Oh, you might have been this way in your job, on, social media. You are ashamed. So you might need to go, oh my, I really, I need to really understand self-respect and have self-respect meet that energy and not react to it, but be. And then, in other words, and then hold those emotional boundaries. So the Beatles, get back, in other words, get back a moment rather than leaping or speaking. You get into that metacognitive. I have the ability to think about what I'm thinking about it, and then you can just kind of say, there it is. Okay. And then you go, internally. You can go, oh, or or oh my gosh. Or you can go, no. Excuse me? This is what you say. Pardon me? This is not from a rash or desperate. You just say, excuse me? And then, get this, pardon me? And you just hold yourself up and allow them to just sort of continue. And allow them to see if they can see themselves, and what they've been doing, because there are these people who will come out of the gates blaming you for something. And all of a sudden you're embodying this guilt before you've even taken a step out of bed, taken a fresh breath of air, before you've done anything. You've already got all this blame. It could be intergenerational blame. You might have had this going on in your family of origin. You might have this in your culture, your community. And then you have to, you then have to say, what is the cup of my being? Fill it up, If the Beatles were to say that, what is filling up with self-respect? To have a feeling of sort of an honor, not meaning but of dignity, in other words, of a human being. In other words, the dignity of being a human being. So that you didn't have to do anything to earn it. You don't have to do anything to earn it. With a narcissist, you're going to have to earn it all day, every day, until you say, no, I'm not participating. I'm not voting for this lifestyle. I'm not voting for this helpless way of feeling. I'm not putting my vote in the voter's box. No, I'm putting a check in for self-respect. Oh boy, peace and harmony, this is new. I'm scared. No, let's reframe it. I'm excited. I am thrilled. I am enthusiastic. I am. It just have to be I am. You can be I am fearful. I am fearful, but I am overcoming. I am fearful. I have been fearful. I was fearful. Back then, I was fearful. I was fearful a day ago, but now. I was fearful a moment ago, but now. I was anxious a moment ago, but now I am beginning to understand self-respect and self-worth, and why I'm not giving away my power. You're not throwing your candy in the... What was the thing they used to say? You're not spilling your candy in the lobby, whatever that means. You're not giving yourself away for cheap. You're not giving yourself away for to be treated this way. You are not scrap. You are not, as they used to say, chopped liver. You are not demeaned. You are not to be dehumanized or depersonalized. See, if you're depersonalized, it feels that you don't have any third certain dimensions of need, and you've never sort of been able to actualize or materialize these in the quantum field, which means sort of in the allowing, in the fulfillment. So we need to sometimes, rather than work, we need to stop what we feel is work, and just, that's when you have everything, when you stop needing anything. I don't need anymore. I am enough. I am enough. And so you can gradually awaken into those beings. I am enough. And I can stop looking for more and more, and I can stop that behavior, which is like looking without, because that's what the narcissist is. They judge, value, determine by false labels that they will agree to your consent. You're not very person of that. Maybe you failed a class. Oh, and then I'm not a person, I don't respect myself, or you're not a person of worth because you're not good at math, or you're not good. Well, and as I always say, people have so many different talents. You might not be great at math, but you might really be an amazing artist. You might really design a really amazing Sistine Chapel, but you might not know how to balance a checkbook, so you then need to partner up, so it doesn't mean that you're a failure or any worth of a person, or, you're buying into that you don't deserve self-respect. Where did you consent to that? Where did someone maybe even tell you that? Where's there verbal aggression, physical aggression, or the pulling out, the withdrawal, the lack, the devalued, the discard, where they try to tell you in not so many terms that you're, sub whatever. And you're like, yes, I'm sub whatever. I am second rate, third rate, fourth rate, no rate. Oh boy, that's a terrible feeling. And you're dragging that around, like Oprah Winfrey before she lost the weight, her 65 pounds. Remember when Oprah Winfrey lost like 65, 70 pounds, and she like held that up on the stage, and she's like, I can't believe I was carrying all. What are you carrying around? I am so excited to stop that, so you can, that pressure to please, so little by little, be willing to agree and allow to self-respect. Here, I agree to write in this little nook and cranny to be treated with self-respect. So in other words, not that you call out, but you will address within and then without. And so when that self, if someone tries to take your power away, stop giving it away. Hold on to it. What represents your power? Is it a cross? Is it a something? Is it emotional state? Don't give that away. Don't give your value away. Don't give your I am away. Don't continue to allow to be treated like that. Oh, peace and harmony, but this is my parent, this is my boss, this is my spouse. And now, I can't get out of it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Instead, I recognize and realize this is going on. That's a huge step. It's a huge step. Oh, to acknowledge what's going on and to say, okay, this is an emotional boundary that you need, like a cushion, where you have this within, and you need to develop that rapport, intrapersonal rapport, not meaning outside, but within, and taking that rapport with you into a relationship, or and taking that strength, but being able to just have that. And it can be just right in sort of the core of your being, in your solar plexus. And you might have been fearful there, male or female. Where did you feel that was really hit? It could have been when you were a teenager. Someone did better than you, guy or girl, either in dating or the grades or their job, and somehow you have ingested the belief, I am inferior. Oh, that you cannot have that belief circulating in your soul. That'll keep you from so much. It'll keep you really in an anxiety, guilt-ridden, and kind of a survivor state. So you want to be able to beckon and call forth really that reframing and say, I am so excited to experience self-respect. I experience self-respect. I have the core within me. I am, I need, I deserve. And oftentimes you can know what that is through the antithesis or what you have right now. So you could be underloved, underappreciated. Peace and harmony. This is really bad. You cannot continue to put up. You have tolerated. Okay, your boundaries and standards, you might not have any. Okay, well then let's have some. Let's have. And let's start right here and right now. I have. You can just start right there. And it can be, we go to the, not to the outside, we go to the I. And it's just like, it's got to be solid. And you might be on shaky ground for some time. You might need to really get the I into alignment with an emotional backbone within yourself. And you might need to get back to that space. And you can kind of see where there was an emotional habit where you had tolerated or been the person who just put up and then continued to attract these states and these relationships time and time again. And here we go again. Why am I doing this? And you can change paths. You can. So when that comes up, someone is condescending, falsely accusing, bringing up something from the past that has nothing to do with your accomplishments right now, trying to undermine, undercut, get you behind the knees. They're not allowing you to have your needs met. In fact, if they come out blaming you for something, that means they are not taking responsibility. Okay, you do not need to be responsible for someone else's negativity. You need to say no. You need to recognize what is yours and what is pure and what is someone else's and what is theirs and not yours. So their negativity, their blame, their projection, and it doesn't mean I have to participate. I don't have to consent. Oh yeah, you want to sign up for an emotional battle? These are the relationships constantly in a fight, constantly having to prove yourself. You don't know how it's going to end up. You hope you win them over, or whatever. No, you don't need it should not be that much work. Yes, there is work, but to the point where you're constantly giving your power away, your needs are not met. You cannot ever feel or be the center of attention. They cannot ever give you a kudos, a high five, or just good to see you. How are you? They can't even, you have been depersonalized as a person. You don't even feel as a person, a human being, meaning just I am. Eye contact, acknowledgement and validation, meaning I'm not in the invisible. You can see me and not project some sort of demand upon me or blame upon me right out the gate. That is a lot of pressure, which is not yours. You need to stop owning someone else's pressure. That will wear you down. It'll wear you thin. It'll make you feel that you are where you do not belong, and you'll stay there too long. Underloved for too long. Underemployed too long. Under-acknowledged and validated too long. Suffering too long. Unhappy, disinterested, not getting to be the one who can own the floor, who can have a feeling, who can get a word in, who is important, who is treated properly, who is treated with self-respect, who is treated like a male or a female, women, have you been taught that you have to always be a specific way, or do such and such to be loved? And you never have the door held open for you. You never get a smile. You never get a flower, a rose. You're expected, in other words, there's some imbalance. Or your employer you don't feel that they appreciate you. They don't acknowledge your strengths. They are not strength-based in you. Or your spouse, just sees you as a conduit for some sort of taking care of things, and there's no love, warmth, communication, togetherness in the relationship. This, can be a learned state of helplessness, a learned state of hopelessness, and feeling this is all you've accepted the mediocre. So, why tolerate? Why? And it doesn't matter. You are always generative. You need to say, oh, okay, I see where I had maybe not felt as good as or not enough. And I bought into that. So, and you have to own that vote, whether it was good, bad, indifferent, or whatever it is, and kind of go back and really visit that, even though it's very uncomfortable. But we have to get comfortable with looking at the uncomfortable, which means I'm so excited, peace and harmony, to see where this all started out for me, because I am more. I deserve more in that moment. And instead, I took a wrong decision. I took a wrong path. I took a wrong couple of steps. And instead I. So let's just get a little bit of phraseology. Instead I. So if you look at those moments where maybe I don't have the car, I don't have the lips, I don't have the hair, I don't have the men, they don't have the car, the watch, the money, the whatever, the hairdo, and you feel that you have to do all these other, no, what is really important? Can you be treated with self-respect? Can you open a door for a woman? Can you, not be condescending, but you can, show that you are a man in other ways. It doesn't mean you have to resort to all these superficial ways to, show that you are a man, where your masculinity has maybe been questioned. And then, or you felt you had to overgive, and you felt inferior because you had voted that, and you then either you suffered, didn't ever feel good enough, or you didn't fit in, or you bought into the trap. See, if there was a feeling, you have to really look at it and dissect it. You can say, oh, wow, well, you might have been cut off in that moment. In a specific moment, something might have been taken from you. Your self-respect. We're talking about the intangible here. So you're like, oh my gosh, peace and harmony in that moment, whether you were a child and then that left you feeling fearful or without recourse or resourcefulness. So let's give self-respect to yourself right there. And realize just because, if you could even have witnessed something and seen something, and then you could have felt that way, where you had then voted in, oh, peace and harmony, no, because those feelings that you vote in, those are what rule the roost. That's what's going to rule your day. That's what's going to greet you in the morning and greet you in the evening. And, oh my, so you got to say, nope, I'm changing this right now. I am. And enough is enough, not out of desperation, but I'm not going to tolerate this. And I have this. So you might need, and when it, and then so when it comes up, and then they will bark at you or give you, wherever it is, whatever it is that they do, excuse me, pardon me, in a composed way of being. And then allow them to kind of, and don't just react. Get back like the Beatles. Don't just chill, okay? Compose. It's hard to do it in the moment if you haven't owned it. So you have to stop looking in that moment for something. You own it right there. So you don't have to look for something else. You need to kind of keep your head down, keep your eyes down, and relax your eyelids for a moment. And you might be, sort of uneasy as a first time. This might be a first for you. Oh my, this is a new you coming into being. This is a first, peace and harmony. Ooh, turn down the heat. It's getting hot in here. Like I'm feeling my being. Maybe, you might be really angry. You might have had some bad habits. Oh no, you don't want to go in that bad habit anymore. You don't want to be like the girl on Jerry Springer, or the guy on Jerry Springer, whatever they were doing, or whatever show that you saw, and you said, I don't want to live that way. I don't want to live a lie. I don't want to be that person. The stakes are too great. I'm, Take emotional steak. What are you having for steak? What are you having for dinner, by the way? You better give yourself a good dinner after all this work. What are you going to give yourself as a recovery gift when you own self-respect? How are you going to really solidify it? Because if these are etheric emotional states, you really need to say, I'm going to own this for the first time. I call this your emotional real estate. You know, you're getting some primo, beautiful, gorgeous oceanfront property. This is all the beautiful gale winds that you'd ever want to take in over the salty oceans with the rippling tides and the most beautiful beaches you'd ever want to walk in yourself or with another, but that you can always have that be state within. Why do you have to wait? Are you going to wait 4 months, 6 months? Have you waited long enough? Is that, you have to say, enough. I've already paid my dues. You have to make a deliberate decision. Enough is enough. You have to come to that feeling state. Oh my gosh. And then you have to have an alternative. You have to have a yes and. Like that great book, I believe Kelly Leonard. Yes, Kelly Leonard. The book Yes and. So it's just like, you're treating me with disrespect. Yes and. And then hold self-respect. I mean, you don't have to, and allow the narcissist but do not tolerate. You have to come to a determination that I can't tolerate this underemployment. And what do I need to do? I can't tolerate this underloving, and what do I need to do? And not out of desperation, but just, I refuse. I refuse. And then what does that feel like? And own that. And then take that on a recovery date. And I am so excited to own self-respect. That ocean, and what does it look like to you? I mean, does it look like a hug? Does it feel like, smell like, sound like? I am so excited to own self-respect. And I might not have it right now, but I might have it in an hour, but I'll feel it within the day. And then make a commitment, and that anything else is going to bounce off of you. Energetically, waterproof, airproof, energetic proof. Okay, self-respect. Excuse me? Pardon me? No, sir. Unless you can adapt a civil tone, we're not going to continue this relationship. I'm not going to continue this conversation. No, if they don't, then you need to be able to be behind yourself for the decision. I am not going to be treated this way. And so not that you need to have an exit, but that you have to own self-respect, because then they'll say, and they'll adjust and they'll say, oh, okay, here is some respect. I better straighten up. Does the narcissist straighten up? Will life straighten up for you? You don't want to, you've made a determination. You want to stop the chase. You want to, when you stop chasing, that's when you have everything. And you can go, if you can just breathe. But if until you feel it's safe and trust, and that then it's okay to come from that place. But no one maybe gave you permission or validation, because you might not have ever, so different parts and stages of your life. If it's in the first 7 years of your life, that is the truth of your being. So if you were in the first 7 years, your truth might be, I'm never, I'm inferior. If that is your truth, then if someone treats you with worth, it won't match you energetically, and you won't take that job. You won't say thank you to the compliment. you won't, and you'll continue to live a downgraded life. You will have downgraded yourself. You have been voting yourself into a lower office, if you will, a lower perspective. So, and this is, too excited to see. I want to own self-respect. It can be, and instead, what does this feel like, look like, sound like? It might just look like, sound like, oh, okay. And then you then require that you be treated and that the behavior energetically be congruent, not incongruent, but in harmony, meaning acknowledging this self-respect. And this might be new. You might be like a little toddler. Oh boy. Well, then you can acknowledge, I've got ocean lakes right here, peace and harmony. I have not done my first and second steps. I'm like an emotional infant here. Okay, well then you've got support here. You've got, you can say, okay, wow, self-respect. And when you make that statement and you either, and then you need to have the terms and conditions. You don't depend on them for your power. If you have believed that, then you have inherited or you have engendered or you have swallowed a false belief, which is very disempowering for you. And it's going to lead you into unbecoming behavior situations and lack of fulfillment and imbalance. Underemployed, undereducated, under-led, under-mentored. Eating not for your life, but eating, for out of depression, eating out of desperation, not giving your body what it needs, not knowing, not having the time to even discover your needs. Your life is like on a hamster wheel. You don't even have the time. You can often even then listen to yourself. Peace and harmony, I don't even have the time to eat healthy. Well, that's a red flag. So you need to acknowledge, what are the red flags when you're being treated and you're giving your power away? Well, when you're throwing your pearls at swine, meaning you're giving self-respect to people who don't respect you, that means you're giving your wisdom, your presence, which is your I am, and they're treating you with disrespect, and you're then feeling like garbage, nothing. You might even say these things about yourself. I am, and then you're repeating someone else's negativity and you're owning someone else's negativity. No, thank you. I don't have time for that. I cannot own that negativity. I cannot own that behavior. I cannot own that treatment. I cannot be an energetic match to that. That will not fly. That is not congruent with my I am. And then you can see, and then just own it, and then see the person instead of having an idealized version. This person might have a lot of money. They might be whatever. They might be very important to you, but then see them for a moment in their humanness. And they might have gotten away with this sort of treatment for some time. But it's okay that it stops. It's okay that things are anew for you. It's okay for a new day, new things for you. And it's okay that, yes, you can be safe with, you don't have to throw yourself at people. Guys, you don't have to throw money to prove your self-worth. Girls, you don't have to throw your body, whatever you feel for self-worth. You don't have to be evaluated by the length of your fingernails, the size of your diamond, the size of your whatever. No. And until you can own that and kind of come to that, you see, there's a societal groupthink that all around you, it'll promote that, and that's what will get people to get plastic surgery or to do these other things, which they is not oftentimes they, so what can you really do? And right now, sort of, as we get into kind of coming up to some solutions here, is to be in that. So, and look around. What other things do you have around that are propelling, even that you have then voted in to your inner proximity, that I am inferior? Drabby clothing. Do you, when you look around, is everything downcast? Do you not have clothing that is conducive to self-respect? Guys, you might look at your wardrobe and go, oh my gosh, no. And that's okay. You can, be comfortable and be yourself. Girls, guys, gals, same thing. What around you doesn't really speak to that self-respect within? Do you, guys and girls, do you have way too many shoes that were there to impress? Girls, do you have bags? Are you really a person of worth because you have a Gucci something or not? Can we really just get that down and make it into the ridiculous? And so you really have to look at that in those moments and just say, no, in that moment, I can just be the sheer neutral peace and harmony. I can just be for a moment and go, oh, okay. And so that's where you gave away, or that's where you allowed some negativity and you tried to fill up your cup with some negativity. Oh, you're staying out too late. Oh, you're never believing in yourself, and you're never progressing in your job. Oh, you're hanging around the wrong crowd. You don't like this. You're too tired. You need to change things up, but you don't know how. And you don't think that you can make it any other way. You're drinking from the judgment. You don't need to. It's okay to look within. If you look at your society, it oftentimes, or your promotion of your environment, does it speak to you to do this? To have self-respect? Do you wake up and does it say have self-respect today? Keep yourself safe today. You are loved. You are whatever good things that you have. Or is your life, oh, I gotta dress to impress, I better da. And you're not grounded. You've put the cart ahead of the horse. You've put something else ahead of your peace of mind. You didn't realize you had it all in that moment, but you bought into something else. In that moment where you felt inferior, in that moment you had it all. In that moment, you were in the right place. In that moment, you have seeds of greatness. In that moment, you can go right here and just be, oh, okay. And then look at that, because those are the secrets that will keep you attracting the negative again and again and again. And instead go, oh, self-respect, clearing out that baggage and having clarity in the simplicity. Getting back to the Beatles, they were a very simple music, and they played with real instruments and everything, pretty exciting. So you yourself are organic, you have that same simplicity of self-respect. And how does that bring forth and attract different things into your life, different opportunities, different ways of handling things? Instead of turning left, you turn right. Or instead of turning right, you stop. You get back and you put a foot down, an emotional foot down in that moment. And I'm so, and then you take back control. You take back control of the conversation. You take back control of the moment. You take back control of your value. And what is your value? You are priceless, of course, but where are you putting yourself? What do you have within? Because that will begin to really determine what you see and then what you continue or what you then shatter. Because if the good is coming into your life and you're ruining it, you're shattering it, you didn't take care of it, you put it out in the open, you put, oh, I got to protect. And then you learn a new way of doing, being, becoming, and organizing, particularly your emotions. You'll get your emotional ducks in an order where it comes from in that moment. Those are the seeds of greatness. And you can say, oh, rather than thinking and deciding that I am defeated or I will never, and then taking years in that moment, I just discovered in that moment that I deserve better. That, I discover in that moment I do have it all. And I discover in that moment that I don't have to play into their theatrics. I don't have to play into the drama. I don't have to play into the desperate. I don't have to be bothered by. And but you have to really pay attention to those statements and then own it in that moment. And say, oh, I see what was going on. But then really having some internal, really emotional real estate within. And then I have it all in that moment. Even if you didn't have an acknowledgement internally, you have to acknowledge this. You have to give yourself permission because, like Eleanor Roosevelt said, you gave permission. No one told you not to, but you allowed someone to cause you to feel inferior. No, I am not all that false evidence becoming real. I am not living in fear. I am not living in stress. I am not living that way. I'm not living in that sort of fallacy or fantasy. I'm not buying into that. And I'm not cajoled or persuaded or knocked off my ground, because if you've felt inferior, you have lost your grounding. They have taken your grounding, your I am. And that's where you have to go, no, it is actually still here. Thank you very much. And then you have to have thank you very much. You have to own some gratitude, within. Thank me very much. Thank very much. Gratitude very much. Grace very much. Oh my gosh, very much. OMG very much. Whatever it is. I don't need to. Instead, and that is okay. And it's not, and so do you see that? And then to alchemize, I do not give consent. Consent is not given. Consent not given. And so if you can realize and kind of get that lever going on, then you'll have leverage over those be and I am states. And it'll begin to sort of gently awaken. I am deserving of respect. And when it starts coming, a lot of people will ruin that. They'll sabotage. They won't believe it. Oh, no, but you have to own the I am within. Don't go to the superficial. What you have determined, what your terms of, I am are, and then what your boundaries are. So your balance, and that call it a day at that each step. And if you can just keep, how do you handle, an elephant, or what are they used to say, how do you eat an elephant or something that is large? One bite at a time, but make it one good palatable bite at a time, one good step at a time, one internal emotional proclamation at a time, getting the perspective, the viewpoint, and then owning that, and then giving yourself a recovery gift to acknowledge and validate that, whether it's a candle, whether it's something that speaks to you internally, that reminds you that you deserve respect. Maybe you just need to write it out. I deserve respect. And you need to write that down 10 times or 27 times for 9 days. Okay, I feel respect. I feel respected. I deserve respect. And then don't enter back into the disrespect zone. And what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? What does that mean? And and then do not be afraid of respect. It might be a fearful state because energetically it might feel different. It might feel good. We'll own the goodness. Take it in stride. I feel good. For some people, it might be scary. I don't know if this is sustainable. That is what it's all about. Having that sort of chronic I am happiness. I am enough. Just like that. Own it. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. And yes, if you like this content, please hit the like button. That will keep us really circulating here on the web. And also, if you like this content and want more of it, then hit the subscribe button. You can also have like notifications coming up, so when new content comes up, or even videos that I've had here that have gone on for years, might speak to your current situation, or give you or glean you a new nugget to sort of help you keep on your path of the up and up. Have a beautiful day. Stay well, stay healthy, and have a beautiful day.